Now, earlier on the show, we discussed China's support in helping Europe out of its debt crisis. Many people have criticized China, saying it should use its foreign reserves to bail the zone out. China, of course, has ruled this option out several times. But what could provide a rather realistic boost to Europe's actual economy is not China's foreign reserves, but the growing number of Chinese tourists. Here's a closer look.
27-year-old Dai Xiaoxiao went to France for the first time last year during China's week-long National Day holiday. But what she found was that in France, she was not alone. Chinese travelers were everywhere.
There were so many Chinese tourists there. I saw so many of them buying luxury goods.
Buying luxury goods is a trademark of many Chinese tourists. Data shows that Chinese tourists spent about $900 million in France in 2010, a 60% rise compared to the year before. American tourists, on the other hand, spent no more than half of what their Chinese counterparts spent.
Our guide told us that he once was leading a huge tour group. After the group went to the Galeries Lafayette, which is one of the major shopping malls in Paris, the department store had to keep other shoppers out. They couldn't come in until this group finished shopping.
Purchasing luxury items without the import taxes makes for a good reason to turn any holiday trip into a shopping spree. But that's not to say the shoppers aren't interested in discovering less well-known places.
I'd very much like to go to not-so-popular places after visiting the popular attractions to see the real France.
Eyeing this growing demand in both merchandise tourism and trips for the more adventurous, Charles Jade is seizing the opportunity. Jade is a native Parisian who now lives in Beijing and speaks fluent Mandarin. She designed a travel website to help the many Chinese visiting her home country.
We don't try to make it too glamorous. We want to share what we like in Paris with people from middle class.
That includes people like Dai, who said she'd like to go back for a second time, Sans Tour Group. While she has yet to set a travel date, she says tips from a native French person will prove quite useful this time around.
I like to see more countryside next time to experience the real French life. Nowadays, people are traveling more and more by themselves. So such travel websites with specific trip tips are big hits because they allow travelers to make more detailed itineraries.
And that's exactly what Jade had in mind.
The aim is that we can be a real guide for individual tourists in Paris. You could follow the website to find shops, restaurants, indications about what to do at a certain part of the year. You could have lots of fun by following the tips in our website.
Travel websites like Jade's that provide in-depth guides are on the rise. So, too, is the number of Lonely Planet books written in Chinese. As more and more Chinese are willing to explore a new world on their own 2 feet, the market is looking bright. And for Dai, that means the promise of getting to discover the real France.
Now, just to give you some figures here on the market, last year, 900,000 Chinese tourists visited France alone. Over the next 5 years, insiders predict France will receive about 5 million Chinese tourists.